Hi everyone, I'm Aviad Cohen at AVMASTER, and today I have the absolute pleasure of having not one, not two, but three people from Sony Professional. So today we have Nikos, Sales Manager for East Europe and Israel. Hi, Nikos.
Hi.
We have Carl, Corporate Segment Marketing Manager.
Hello.
And we have Rob, Planning and Product Marketing for Business Projectors and SRG Cameras. How are you
Well,
guys?
yeah, good, good.
Very well.
Good, thanks. And you?
I'm very well today. AC's on, room's quiet, everything's good. So, guys, we've been planning this interview for a while now, and evidently, you guys waited for the latest and recent announcements made, some of them by two webinars this week, and some of them for the last few weeks. As you guys didn't attend IC this year, this is a very good opportunity to break down all the latest announcements. And basically what we're looking for is the some sort of an overview and a strategy by Sony. What are you guys up to? So question number one, please,
Okay.
please raise your hand. Who's going to take it? Highlights of what Sony sees for this year. What are the trends?
Well, this year's an interesting year. We've just got a sort of coming out of this global pandemic, which for me, I look out of the corporate segment, was a pretty wild year because all the office workers weren't in there and a lot of budgets and projects were moved around, and actually behavior and how people use technology in offices is changed a little bit. You might have heard of the term hybrid working. That's become much more popular. So we're seeing people who want to split their time working at home and in the office. So traditionally, a lot of display technology was really focused on the meeting room. And now we got to think about how do we incorporate people who are at home and remotely and have more endpoints coming in and enabling collaboration with those people, but then also engaging people and wowing them and bringing them back to the office so they're happy there. So from that perspective, for us, the strategy is really to provide the technology that makes people work productively when they do come in the office, because when they come in, it's going to be for a meaningful thing. It's going to be for meeting a customer in person or having a collaboration and brainstorming with teams. So it really needs to be very sort of efficient and highly productive work. We have our Bravia professional displays. We've just launched a new range that's coming out quite soon, the BZ30 and the BZ35J models. So now from 32 inch up to 100 inch, we have these new models. And of course, our TIOS workplace solutions, we're looking at expanding those to have more flex office benefits. So we have a mobile application so people can actually book hot desks before they come in if you're moving from a fixed desk to a hot desk scheme. And we have updates to our digital signage. We have a whole new range of templates, our visitor sign-in solution, our room booking solution, a whole range of updates really to enable efficient work in the office and help flexible working become a little bit more easy for companies. Maybe Rob, you want to maybe mention a little bit from the education side as well.
Before we
Yeah.
go to Rob, just a
Oh,
second. So
Yeah.
I'll elaborate a little bit for question number two. As per
yeah.
trend, she spoke of strategy and hybrid working. So what strategy has Sony taken for hybrid learning, working, etc.?
Well, exactly as Carl said, all of a sudden, new way of working, new way of communicating, hybrid working. Well, hybrid learning as well. It's something that's for me. It's always been around. Most universities have been thinking, how do we reach out to students further away from where they're located, their campus. There has always been, remote communication, online tutorials, and so forth. But what we've just witnessed with the pandemic is that suddenly none of the students, even locally, could attend class. So a lot of universities have rushed out to trying to answer this problem they had, and that was, how do we still communicate? How do we still teach? So we saw a huge influx of opportunities coming in the university market. So, we Sony, we have SRG cameras, we have HD cameras, 4K cameras. We even have a new product called Edge Analytics that gives handwriting extraction. It does chroma key. So with the combination, and it does tracking of the camera. So with that combination, teachers were still able to teach the way they teach in a classroom with a chalkboard or with a whiteboard, and they can write on it. We're taking that data from the camera with Edge Analytics, with handwriting extraction as they write, it pops up. So there was a lot of things that they could do, which was normal, and then record that and send that out onto the network. So students everywhere could pick this up, or it would be put on their interest site, put on their website, and they can download it whenever they want. So we saw a huge influx of that within a year. I mean, it just went. We still think that's going to continue. And the reason why we think it's going to continue, yes, classes will start coming back, but social distancing, I think people are starting to get a bit weary about social distancing, far apart. How big is a classroom now? Can we, where they had 200 students in an auditorium, maybe 100 students, who knows? Nobody knows. But there is still going to be this look at, well, how do we branch out, one, to people who are not in the classroom, but equally the people in the classroom. So with our technology, with edge analytics and our cameras and how we integrate it, everything, we're not telling the teachers to change their way of teaching. Keep teaching the way you do. We can capture everything. So it's exciting times in a way that, this market is suddenly, it's been there, but now they're like, we really need to rethink our communication. We really need to rethink how to teach in a post-pandemic world, so to speak.
Yeah, two terms and another one that I remember. First one was synchronized and asynchronized learning. So it's spoken 2019, I think 2020, but up until the pandemic broke out, it didn't make sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. All these were products, and now they're basically solutions for everything. I've seen the edge analytics in work. It's actually I don't think I've seen anything like it until now, and I don't think I have seen to date anything like it. It's pretty interesting. So the third question is a little different from what we spoke of until now. There's another thing that changed, which is a digital signage. The way we look at it is you used to have a lot of people crowding in one place, you gather attention in one place. Now you need that attention in people who are a little bit distant from each other. So what's new with digital signage? How do you deal with it? What types of solutions do you have for that one? Who's going to take this one?
I can take that one. It's interesting, actually. We saw some over the period of the pandemic. There were some solutions that were less popular and others that were more popular. Digital signage was something that actually was more popular, with companies investing more in it. Firstly, for the reason that we saw there was a need to share information about guidelines on new ways of behaving in the office, new routing flows and walking one way around, or reminders to wash your hands and so on. So we saw a lot of companies really investing in more screens throughout the office to share different bits of information and updates and guidelines. And then now, actually, what we're seeing is that companies want to bring employees back to the office. They've been working remotely and a bit of hybrid. We're actually seeing now that they want to sort of impress their employees, and they want them to come back. And how do they make them come back? And a lot of it is amplifying their brand values, their identity, and making it feel like it's a place where you feel connected to your company. So digital signage is a great way to easily share videos about your product lineups or your updates, and you can then customize pages and make it really engaging. And one thing we saw was that some companies were just having the same signage all the time on one screen. And once you've seen it once, you've seen it a million times, and you have all this traffic and no one's even looking at the screen anymore. So what we've done with our latest TIOS 3.0 updates, we've just launched a new version of TIOS, our workplace solutions. We have 20 new different templates for signage as well. And it's not just all about business. We have ones across sports and weather and horoscopes. And so they're really easy to set up, because we realize you need to have, different layers of content so it's engaging, so people come back and they do pay more attention when you do show news information or something that you really want to share and communicate. So it's about making that signage more engaging when people do pass by.
I would like to add something about TIOS that I remember I was on a campus tour for one of the largest software companies in the world. There were two types of signages, digital signage. One was like more light and chic, and that's managed by an external company. It is always updated, mainly for the cafeterias and buffets and whatnot. The other one was for corporate announcements, and that was refreshed all the time. I asked them, how different it is, and they said, well, the corporate one is managed by us. And I said, do you have like a dedicated person? No, we chose a soft platform which allows you to do a lot of things, but easy. Well, you get specific made templates that you can easily update with important announcements. People don't lose interest, and it's easy to maintain. There's something that people forget sometimes. When you approach a signage project, the content is pushed aside, and that's like the major player, and everybody is like, we forgot about the content. Yeah, it looks great. It's, works fine. It's robust. It's whatnot. We need to update it. And I think, from my perspective, TIOS does just that. You can do more things on TIOS, but I think for the majority of it, people just want to update content easily. And that it allows just that. So it's an interesting, I think it's an interesting intake Sony chose when they launched TIOS. It allows you to do a lot of stuff. It's a pretty cool thing. So TIOS runs on projector, not on projectors, sorry, on displays, LFDs. Rob, I know projectors are right up your alley. What are the latest announcements? I mean, you had the SRXD seminar this week. I couldn't attend.
Yeah.
You probably heard from our product manager, Chris Mullins, who manages the VSVE and home cinema. So he probably introduced the new GTZ 380, which is also positioned in the corporate market as the first 4K projector coming from Sony. So I've been doing projectors for way too long, but they're getting smaller, they're getting brighter, they're getting sharper. And the one thing we introduced 2 new models actually during the pandemic, during lockdown, the PHZ 50 and the 60. And they're 5,000 lumen, 6,000 lumen, small chassis, smallest in the market with laser. So 2 things that we're doing that maybe people haven't picked up on, I've been doing some webinars, is one, the introduction of the GT380, which is a SXRD technology, so LCOS. So we're famous for 3LCD. We're now moving away from 3LCD. You're going to see more and more SXRD technology projectors within the business market, and they're going to be 4K. So that's a natural transition, but we're really looking at the technology. We know the SXRD in the VSVE home cinema, the blacks are really good and all that. So we know that we're going to be bringing great technology into now the business projectors. And the reason 3LCD equally is good, but SXRD, it was always a big chassis or a small chassis. Small chassis for home cinema, big chassis for VSVE, but nothing in the middle. But now that the technology is getting smaller, we can now get a chassis 6,000 lumen, 10,000 lumen into a corporate box for a university, for corporate. So you're going to start seeing that. The second announcement.
Okay, at what price point? Don't mention specific prices. Would it match that perceived price point? Do you think? Do you estimate?
I really don't want to go there because right now the GT's. I'll answer it this way: the GTZ 380 is really designed for home cinema upper. So for a home, we have already sold one of them into a university in the Nordic area in Finland. So we know the market's there for it. The second announcement, though, and I think we're the first to say this, but we're getting out of the lamp business. It's all laser. We started laser back in 2013 with the 3LCD blue phosphor. And that's the technology that has been adopted by the industry. There was hybrid, right? There was the laser and LED. The color wasn't right. The brightness couldn't get as much as they thought they could. So that technology has been adopted. So now, I mean, we're just now end of life in pretty much all of our lamp models. So by the end of FY21, this fiscal year, we will have no more lamp projectors. And that's a natural thing for us because we're into laser. We're on to about our 8th generation of laser technology in our projectors. And equally, lamps, high pressure mercury, environmental, not so green anymore. We want to get away from that. We have a real strong green agenda within Sony. That's, we talk about digital signage. We see that every day within our own corporation about how green we are, what we're going to do in the future, being more green. So it's a huge initiative globally, Sony. But yeah, so those are 2 things that I have mentioned in the last couple of months, but maybe not picked up on. So exciting times for projectors still.
Brighter images, cleaner environment.
Yeah.
And we're saying goodbye to COVID, thank God. And we're saying goodbye to lamps as well, at least for Sony.
If I may, there is one other thing that we're doing that I haven't seen other manufacturers doing? We have a lot of understanding now about laser and 3LCD and SXRD technology. So we've incorporated a thing called intelligent setting. So we know how to optimize the optics. We know how to get the laser to work perfectly with the panels. So when somebody says, I'm installing a projector in a museum, which is becoming more and more popular, we kind of understand color is utmost important, contrast. And so we built in this intelligence into the projector to do just that without really any intervention. The installer can just go in, click museum, boom, they've got the richest color they want, accurate to the original, great blacks. Is it a classroom? It goes bright. You know, so we have that technology that is only going to get better and better. So that's another technology that we put into our projectors, which I don't see anybody else doing. So again,
so you're basically setting the bar.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Good. Nikos, you have been quiet the whole time. So mark up about 1 minute or 60 seconds. I don't know how Americans would translate it for them because, you know, kilometers and miles. I'm kidding. It's funny they didn't find a different method for time. But Nikos, if you may, the most important part, you get 60 seconds to recap everything with your insights and additional 20 to 25 seconds for your own message, because you have been so quiet up this time.
So I mean, you can see that we are a solution and a product-based company. I mean, you've heard the guys speaking about the different solutions that we have in the corporate and in the education segment, and of course the product part ranging from the smaller displays, the 32-inch up to 100-inch display, 4K with a functionality of up to 24/7, and of course the solution part, you know, covering the education part and the corporate segment as well. Now, of course, we have as well the home cinema part, as it was discussed before, with a 4K projector up to 10,000 lumens, so very, very impressive things. And of course, our new crystal LED modular display. So, you know, there's a lot of things that you see and that you hear coming from Sony. And of course, our key, you know, dealer and importer in Israel is of course Aviad, and they have the capability and the capacity to show these to the people, and of course, you know, put that solution together to the key integrators who are going to actually request for it. We've been working with Aviad for, you know, many years. They are experienced in the professional part, and you know, I'm sure they will be able to support any request coming to them.
If I may summarize, guys, thanks first of all, because I'm guessing you guys are from different regions. So thank you very much for coming together in one time for this very special interview, which has been insightful. Second, one thing I see in common for all you guys and Aviad as your partner is the passion you guys share for this industry, which is amazing. And it's so much fun to have that here. And I would like very much to have follow-up interviews about everything. So we get to share more. And so Rob, Carl, Nikos, all you guys, thank you very much for this time. And I hope to see you soon for upcoming updates. And enjoy the rest of the day, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Aviad.
Cheers.
Thank you all.
Thank you.